Hello everyone and welcome to Rewind, the retro video game show coming to you live every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern right here on the AWS for Games channels on YouTube and Twitch. And on this episode of Rewind, we are going to explore some of my favorite games for Atari's quirky handheld, the Lynx. Codenamed the Handy, the Lynx was created by industry legends RJ Michael and Dave Needle and was released back in 1989. Now, I remember seeing the Atari Lynx in the window of the FAO Schwartz toy store in the mall that I worked at, and I was blown away. They had a demo of Blue Lightning, their answer to Sega's Afterburner, running on a loop, and it was incredible to see. What made the Lynx so striking was its color screen at a time when no portable consumer electronic devices had color screens. 4-channel sound, up to 4 players for multiplayer games using their Comlinks cable. You could rotate the console for left-handed or right-handed play, and it could do sprite scaling and rotation, something we wouldn't see until the 16-bit generation of home consoles. Unfortunately, poor battery life, the massive catalog of games for the Nintendo Game Boy, which were released just 2 months prior to the Lynx and came with Tetris packed in, Sega's Game Gear releasing just 1.5 years later, and Atari going through management changes and a shift to the development of the Jaguar console, the Lynx was discontinued in 1996, having sold about 800,000 units. But there are still Lynx games being developed today, thanks to an active and awesome Lynx community. So with that, it's time to fire up some of my favorite games for the Lynx.
Let's go.
Alrighty, there we go. We are going to go ahead and jump in. Let's get a little, what does everyone say? All right. Yeah, all right. And a little bit of air horn on top of that. We're going to go ahead and jump into exploring some of the quirkiness that is the Atari Lynx. But I figured we'd go ahead and take a look at some of the commercials that aired during that particular time when the Lynx was fresh and new in the world. So let's go ahead and check out some of the commercials that sold the Lynx. All right, so there was this video that I found on YouTube of this collection of Lynx commercials, and I'm playing that for you right now. Hey, FK Zella, good to see you there. Tell me if you can recognize the young man sitting on the toilet in that bathroom there at school. That is a young Tobey Maguire out there repping the Lynx. I also loved how he pulled it out of his giant Lynx pocket, I guess, inside of his cut-off jean vest, which was just totally crazy for the time. But you can see how they were positioning the Lynx against other consoles or systems in the market. I have no idea what that egg game is for the Game Boy that they were showing there, but they really wanted to highlight and capitalize on the fact that it was color, that it was portable, that it did graphics that no portable handheld machine, or in fact many game consoles, couldn't do at that time, right? It was really just years ahead of its time, and unfortunately fit into this weird era of systems being released and a progression of technology and everybody kind of jumping into games to go ahead and take the lead of the 16-bit generation. So unfortunately, yeah, the Lynx kind of lived a short life, but it is still an amazing game. And some of the games that are in there, we're going to go through my favorites today, are still worth revisiting today because they're just great games. So let's just finish up the ads that we see right here. We have the Elvira pinball game. We have the Batman the movie game. There's Shadow of the Beast. Just, again, some really wonderful games and that could be done on the Lynx and could not be done on any other system, right? So there you go. There was a taste, little taste of the marketing that was for the Lynx during that era. So, since I mentioned Blue Lightning, again, which was just amazing to see at the time, like the fact that you had the sprite scaling game looked and kind of felt a little bit like Afterburner was really incredible. So why don't we go ahead and start off with the Lynx and Blue Lightning. All right, so Blue Lightning, and if there are any games that you like or are fond of or remember, go ahead and pop them into the chat, and happy to go ahead and take a look at those as well. All right, let me just make sure I've got my chat windows open here, and I'll give you a little whoop. All right, let's go jump into a little bit of Blue Lightning. Now remember, the Game Boy just released 2 months prior to this beast of a machine making its way into the market, into your pockets. Not exactly into your pockets. The Lynx, the original Lynx was huge, right? The graphic that I had before is actually the Lynx 2, which was a reduced size, console. But yeah, so again, scaling graphics and all this kind of crazy stuff. What a huge impression this made on people the first time they saw it. All right, let's go ahead and jump straight in. So our mission code is 4A's apparently. FKZilla, or FZ Killa, I'm sorry. I keep saying FK, FZ Killa. And you can go and yell at me later about that. Did you have a Lynx? Did you play the Lynx during the era in which it was released? Check out those graphics in all their glory. Now, of course, they wanted to show off the graphics of the system here, and so you have this giant sprite. Yeah, your pal Mike, our pal Mike, right? Definitely had one. So anyway, they wanted to show off the power of this thing. I mean, look at how smooth it's running, how enormous that jet is that you're piloting. You can see that they were doing dithering in the background there to go ahead and create the illusion of kind of this gradation or kind of the atmosphere that you are flying around in. You got a little, let's see, afterburner. Where's my afterburner? There it is. So I can speed up and avoid these knuckleheads. And we got some incoming folks. Fire up a couple of missiles there. Yeah, very good use of a limited palette. I believe it did add a 4096 color palette, which was, again, looking at the Game Boy that really only had shades of gray. But this was really just a sight to behold. It was really, really amazing. Now, what's also really cool is that while you could climb up into the sky to go ahead and attack those enemies, you could also move down here into the ground and kind of skim along the ground, and that sense of speed that it demonstrated was just really awesome. And what I love too, so the Lynx also had, I believe, an unlimited number of sprites that you could actually put onto the screen, and they all had collision. So it would have been fine if they had just created like this ground, set of textures here that you couldn't collide with, but these are actually objects that you could collide with, right? So it gave a real sense of place. Again, something we just hadn't experienced on a handheld machine, and also not on very many game consoles, right, at that time, right? Compare this to something like Top Gun on the NES, right, at that time. Now, of course, we had them on the Super Nintendo and the Genesis. We had games that kind of approximated this, everything from Space Harrier to, and I also think 3D World Runner right back in the NES days. But in a portable machine, we haven't seen anything like that before. hit that afterburner. Look at those ground textures as they get smaller as you pull up into the sky and get larger as you move back down to the ground. That's something the Lynx could do that no other handheld could do at that time, right? Including the Game Gear, which launched after the Lynx. So this was really a powerful, this was like having that 16-bit home console in your hands and playing on it. Just pretty awesome. Now, I'm only going to play a few minutes of these games. I got a lot of games, you know, going through the catalog of Lynx content. I was like, it can't be that many games that I really remember or were hugely fond of. And it turns out there were, right? So I had to really pare down the list today to get them all in an hour. But if there's a game that I've missed that you like or you remember or you've seen, make sure you go ahead and pop it in the chat and let me know. All right. So yeah, this was the Mighty Blue Lightning. You know, let's get past this level first, at least, so we can go ahead and land our plane, refuel, and kind of show you what that animation looked like. Hey, Super Skirple. And let me know how the audio mix is there too. FC Killer, is it good balance between game and audio? I'm doing this the first live episode from my new studio here at AWS. So I'm no longer doing this, you know, remotely from my home office. So we're amping up our production and we're amping up the quality of content that we're going to be producing. Let's see, come on, you know, let's go ahead and kick in those afterburners and... Oh, yeah, there was one right behind me. There he is. Oh. Maybe decrease the game sound a little bit. You got it, buddy. Let me go ahead and drop that audio down a little bit. How's that? Is that a little better? Let me know if that, if it's still a little loud. I can go ahead and get that down a little bit as well. 1, 2. All right, let's see. Are we going in for our landing? Oh, these suckers, right? I still gotta go ahead and... Oh, there's more incoming, right? I love that alert, right? It's not just incoming, there's more incoming. I'll go ahead and decrease that a little bit more. Get that down here. So while we're doing this from kind of our new studio facility, I still operate all of this by myself. So all of the transitions and the graphics and the streaming and the chat and everything is all being done. It is a solo effort right now from where I am, but you know, we continue to go ahead and build this out and make it a better channel and more engaging experience for those that choose to join us every Friday. Let's see. Okay, I think we're gonna come in for our landing here. Oh my God, there was more. And now you see, that's what I needed, is that other, I needed that co-pilot to tell me there were more coming in. Oh my goodness, I'm wasting way too much time on Blue Lightning. We got a lot to get through, so. Anyway, we're not gonna go ahead and land, but that's what happens when you get so engrossed in a good game, right? You forget the others to go ahead and play. So, all right, let me go ahead and pause this and answer this question. So the question was, the Lynx 1 and Lynx 2, are there differences besides the form factor? No, there's no difference really beside the form factor. I think the screen was a little bit different, but from a hardware perspective, it was exactly the same. Which meant all the games you bought, if you had the original one, worked great on the second one. So, yeah, no real difference between them at all. No difference from a hardware perspective or a compatibility perspective. So, all right, let's go ahead and change up to our next game. And our next game, let's see. I loved this game. This one was called Chips Challenge. This is a wonderful, wonderful puzzle game that, you know, that I just came over, you know, that I, you know, would just constantly go back to and play. Oh, we see C-Boy Slim. It says, nobody cares. Well, thanks, C-Boy Slim. Glad you cared enough to comment. So yeah, we'll give you a little bit of a whoop and a little Galaga life for you. Good job, buddy. All right. So Chip's Challenge was a, again, this really awesome puzzle game that, had you go ahead and, well, I'm just going to go ahead and jump it so you can go and see. The biggest complaint about the Lynx was the battery life. It wasn't powered by AA batteries. It was powered by 6 AA batteries and had about 3 to 4 hours of battery life, right, when you would play the game. So you really did need that either battery pack, or you needed to have rechargeable batteries, or the wall wart, right? The power adapter you would plug into the wall. So yeah, it was a beast of a machine from a battery perspective. Okay, so, oh, that's screen rotation. Here we go. Nerdy Chip McCallahan suddenly stops eating lunch. Melinda, the mental marvel, is sitting down next to him. Melinda smiles. Chip, she says, if you can finish the challenge, you can join our computer club, the Bitbusters. All right, Bitbusters. Chip has been a distant admirer of Melinda for a long time, and Chip crunches his bag of pretzels and gulps. I'll do it. All right, so here we go. Chip's Challenge. So what you have to do is you have to collect all of the computer chips and collect the keys to open the different doors, and then basically make it out of the maze. So the first level, of course, is just teaching you how to go ahead and navigate through the space with the different colored keys that you get, open different colored doors. I'll let you go ahead and collect all of the chips here. And if you ever played games like Sobocon, I think is how you pronounce it, where you push you basically push the boxes around a warehouse to get out. This is very similar, but it built on top of that with having other mechanics, like having to collect things like keys, pushing blocks to overcome obstacles, all those things. Yes, you saw that FC Killa RJ was listed in there as, of course, one of the creators or designers, right, of the game. So, all right, I dropped the audio level down a bit too. Okay, so what you do to pass this this part of the puzzle is you want to go ahead and move a block under the water, step on it to create a pad, move the other block, step onto to create the pad, and then avoid the bugs. So they just follow a loop path here and come down here to the bottom, grab this one, and basically head out, and off you go. And they just continue to add more and more obstacles, more and more components, right, to the puzzles as you continue to move forward. So you have the shield, which I believe is water. Yeah, it's water. I grabbed those cleats that let me walk on ice now instead of slipping around. Grab the fire shields. Now I can get over to the flames, and then the magnet to go ahead and stick to the metal pads, the metal conveyor belt here, move around the maze. And there you go. Yowzer on the first try. Okay, and it just keeps on getting harder and harder as you go. So, let's see. By stepping on a switch, you move the blue tanks. Blue tanks. Blue tanks. So you get the idea, right? This is a game with increasingly difficult mechanics and puzzle components that you have to go ahead and make your way through to complete the game. Oh, and see, and underneath some of the blocks can also be hazards, right? Like fire, as you just saw. So that's Chip's Challenge. And Chip's Challenge, I also believe, is available on Steam for the PC as well. So they made ports of this game going forward that really fantastic. So definitely go ahead, and if you haven't played it before, look up Chip's Challenge on the Lynx or on the PC. All right, let's get on to our next game. Next game. All right, let's see. What about... let's see. Okay, how about... So this comes from... A request came from a friend of mine named Tony, who said, what about Pac-Land? So Pac-Land was the side-scrolling platformer that is really awesome. Really a wonderful little game, and it made its way to a bunch of other consoles as well. I believe it was, well, TurboGrafx 16 definitely, and that's where I was first playing it outside of the arcade, but I believe it made it to some others as well. And yeah, we're gonna go ahead and jump in here. The weird thing about Pac-Land in the arcade was the control system for it. Because they had buttons that you would use to move left or right, and then another button to jump. But when it came to the home version of it, they changed that to allow you to use the gamepad, or you could use the buttons to move left and right. It was a really weird sort of thing that they had just kind of played around with. Rather than having a joystick in place, they would go ahead and have buttons to move you left and right. So it was just, again, a really weird sort of mechanic. And if you haven't guessed, the graphics here are really based off of the animated series, right? The animated cartoon from the 1980s. And I think we can just run right past here, and we'll go grab this power pellet, and off we go. That's one. And it's break time. And so there we go. That's Pac-Land. And again, a really good, competent port of a great arcade game. Well, great may be a strong word. A fondly remembered arcade game. Now, this one always troubled me. There's a section in here with, let's see, let's get past these ghost monsters. See, look at that. You can just run right underneath them. It's a little bit like Sonic was, right? Oh, no. Oh, except that I jumped for some stupid reason when I shouldn't have, so. All right, let's go ahead. Here we go. Trip number 2. Oh, I didn't realize it was going to kick me all the way back to the beginning of round 1. All right, well, we're not going to go ahead and spend much more time on Pac-Land. There is Pac-Land. Again, another good classic game, a solid game for the Lynx library. All righty. What should we jump into next? All right, this one, let's see. The game was tricky, not Ghosts and Goblins difficult, but more challenging than you'd think. You're exactly right. That there were parts of the Pac-Land game that were super tricky, and the part that always got me were the springboards that you had to jump onto, then kind of hold down the button after you left off of them to go ahead and cross water. And I could never get the time, well, not never, but it was difficult to get the timing right on that mechanic. But yeah, you know, again, it was trying to bring that arcade experience home and let you go ahead and play on the go on the very first portable color handheld video game system ever released. Pretty amazing. All right, now this game is the portable version of my all-time favorite arcade game, which is Robotron 2084. It's got some music in there, which is good. It has the scrolling Williams logo around there, exactly what we'd expect when we see Robotron kick up. But the mechanic, because the Lynx only had 2 fire buttons, so the way you actually maneuvered around the game, and I love that startup sound, oh my goodness, was you had to rotate your gun by pressing one button to move it clockwise, the other button to move it counterclockwise. So if you ever got stuck in a really precarious situation and the gun was the opposite direction of where you needed it to be, you were basically dead, right? So it was a really difficult way to go ahead and play a game that really required this precise shooting. Yeah, see, I couldn't get the gun around to fast enough to go ahead and save that human. Here we go. The good thing is that it's only firing in 8 directions, so at least you could tap the button rather than hold it to rotate quickly to get around. And so if you're really good, God, I haven't played this one so long, and this is already a brutal game to begin with. Yeah, okay, let's not enter our name. Let's get on. Let's try this again. All right, here we go. One more time for good measure. All right, I am going to try to move the gun counterclockwise most of the time. See if we can just, at least that way I know where I am. It's kind of like Tetris. You know, when I play Tetris, I don't, use different buttons to rotate the block in different directions. I always wind up picking one button to use and just jam on that button to go in and spin the block to wherever I need it. I don't think I'm alone in that kind of mechanic or technique. Man, that is a ridiculously difficult way to play this game. But again, even think about it, we're so used to having perfect arcade reproduction of games right at home on the go, we didn't have that. So we had these approximations, and the fact you were holding this handheld machine that was color, that were bringing these arcade games home, pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. So that is Robotron 2084, and of course I stunk at it, right? Yeah, I know. Ha ha ha. All right, let's go ahead and fire up yet another one. Let's get our little TV static back here, and let's go ahead and find another game for us to go ahead and try. Let's see. Let us see. How about another competent arcade port? This one being the mighty Joust, and of course, great game, right? And perfect for the controls that the Lynx had, right? Was just 2 buttons, and basically a directional pad. You only needed 1 button to play Joust, which is what made it so lovely to play. So this is a really good version of it for a home, for a handheld system. And think about, the era in which this came out. This is 1989, 1990, somewhere in there, right? Before the internet, before we had access to the portable arcade on the go, right? So again, it's a really competent portable game, and a good amount of finesse, good amount of control that still remained with this version of it. Joust is a game that, when you watch people really play it competitively, they learn how to basically use the physics to bounce your ostrich all over the playfield, how to go ahead and kind of skate and bounce off of the top, skim on your belly on some of the other platforms, double tap to go ahead, like I did right there, to grab both of those enemies. And let's see. And I believe it still has the pterodactyl. I believe it still has the fire hand that comes out of the pit. So we're gonna should have the platform start to burn off at the bottom. There we go. That is wave 3 for you right there. And let's see. And see, if you get up there high enough and bounce off the top, you can bounce down hard and kind of grab them before they get you. But yeah, again, this felt like the arcade, and that was the important thing, right? It really felt like the arcade. Really, really, really cool. Yeah, working within those cost limitations was always a challenge, right? It is, and it's still a challenge today when developers are really trying to stretch even these massive compute capable machines like the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X and all of that stuff. Yeah, there's the pterodactyl. Oh, so there's a way to go ahead. If you line up right under one of these platforms, you can actually hit the pterodactyl, which is supposed to be invincible, and hit him right below the chin, and he'll die and you'll win. And there you go. There you go. All right, so that was Joust for the Lynx. Okay, on to our next game. Let's see, what do we have here? Our next game is going to be, why don't we try one of the racing games here? Let's go ahead and pick up Checkered Flag. So in the Atari Jaguar episode, we looked at Checkered Flag, which was supposed to be their answer to Virtua Racer, right? And so they were trying to basically, they were using the name, but they were obviously couldn't go ahead and do a polygonal race run here. Although they did try with hard driving, and I can see if I have that here in my library, and we'll check that out. I think I do have Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Let's go ahead and check that out. But this was a really good, again, another really good racer. I was once again really surprised when I saw how many games I remember really fondly in the collection, right? And I own basically the entire, physical collection of the entire catalog of Lynx games, right? Really hard to go ahead and film that due to the screen and everything else for a program like this. So we're using emulation right now to go ahead and basically play these games, so that way you don't have to put up with looking at a compact fluorescent screen being shot downward on a camera. So yeah. All right, so there you go. There's Checkered Flag. Again, another fun racing game that looks really good, performs really well, and was just, oh look, there's an Atari ST. I just pointed at it as if, you know, you aren't seeing what I'm seeing on the screen. On the billboards there, they were advertising Atari's systems, right? The Atari ST was on there. So, all right, yeah, let me go ahead and see if I do have a copy of Bill and Ted's here. Let us check it out. Let's see. Oh, wait a minute. Yes, I do. Indeed, I do. Here's a little bit of Bill and Ted's Adventure. It's not Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. It's Bill and Ted's Adventure, apparently. Oh, no, it's Excellent Adventure. They were just teasing that. Okay, now, FC Killa, I haven't played this one in many years, so you'll have to bear with me as I try to figure this one out. Let's go try a new game here. Oh, look at that. My goodness. Yeah, a top-down adventure game here. Let's see. Can you still hear it? Let's see. I think the audio just cut out there for a minute. Yeah, so here it is, FC Killa, but I do not know what the heck I'm doing. Okay, I've got a guitar. And nothing in the tree, dude. Okay, yeah, there's all of that Bill and Ted attitude. Nothing in the tree. I don't know what to do with Bill and Ted. All right, let's go here. Is this Rufus? Let's see. Authorized citizens only. Yeah, so I assume that you need to go ahead and find artifacts from different eras. Go ahead and bring them into the... Oh, be most triumphant, dude. I love that. I guess, you know, you need to go ahead and get the right artifacts and bring them back to the right eras to basically finish the game. But yeah, this is not one of the Lynx's finest games in their finest hour, but there you go. You want a little Bill and Ted? You got a little Bill and Ted. How about that? All right. Let's go ahead. Oh, we had a little applause there too. Why, thank you. Thank you. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's see. Don't need to keep punishing yourself. Yeah, I had to ditch out of that one. Let's see. Maybe Ninja Gaiden. Yes, let's go ahead and check out a little Ninja Gaiden. I believe I do have that here as well. And this game was based off of the arcade version, not off of the NES. So it didn't look like the NES version of the game, right? It was based off of the arcade version of the game. And here we go. Grab a little sip of water here. And this guy was a brutal game too. A brutal game. Oh, but look at that.
Oh my goodness.
Here we go. Got a little jumping action there. A little fighting action there. And you have all the wall grappling stuff. You can swing on the, let's see if I can do that here. I believe there's a way to go ahead and grab that pole on the light post there, so you can swing around and let's see. Nope. Let's go fight these guys. Come on, come on. Jump over there. There, I flipped him over. Right, just like in the arcade. And let's see. Come on, let's do it again. Nope. Yeah, you know, and it was hard to play through to kind of know where you were on the screen, because again, they're not using any. Oh, here we go. They're not using any transparencies, right? So everything is just solid between each other. I keep jumping over this trying to. No, it won't let me go ahead and break that. But I probably can do that with the gas. Yeah, but again, this was just like the arcade version. And those are just, let's see, can I do this? Nope, it's not going to let me go and do that either. Let's see. Yeah, so there's a little bit of Ninja Gaiden for you. Come on, everybody, get down here. There we were. Let's go ahead and grab... Shoot, I just missed that timer power up there. So I'm running out of time. Let's see if I can just get out of here. Of course, there's always a table right in the middle. Look at that. There's always a table right in the middle of the road. Oh! Can I use that? There we go. Got your weapons now. Oh, the Jason Voorhees gang, pretty much. Pretty much. I think of where, we've come from, how far we've come with these kind of side-scrolling beat 'em ups, of course. One of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest, is Streets of Rage 2. Greatest soundtrack of a side-scrolling beat 'em up. Just the pacing was great, the enemies were great, the whole vibe was perfect. Really was awesome. Really was awesome. But yeah, there you go. That is the Atari Lynx version of Ninja Gaiden. And let's see. Come on, get out from behind the barrel. Yeah, it's these control. I mean, a good craftsman doesn't blame his tools, but yeah, some of the stickiness of the objects are pretty hard to get around when you're playing here. Now remember, this is obviously you're seeing it on a much bigger screen. This is being played on a little 3-inch or 3.5-inch screen. Crazy, absolutely crazy. All right, now let's see. Do I just jump up here? No, I could just jump right off of there. Yeah, but I forgot what the control is to do that. Let me see. Nope, can't do it. Anyway, that's it. That is Ninja Gaiden. All right, on to the next one.
Another one.
That's right. Okay. Let's go ahead. Oh, let's go pick another one of my favorite arcade games, Top Gun. Did they have a Top Gun game? I don't believe they did. Nope, no Top Gun in their catalog. They had a game called Steel Talons, though. Steel Talons was a polygonal flight game in the arcade, and here is their approximated version here on the Atari Lynx. I completely forgot about the voice in there too. So here we go. This was Steel Talons, a helicopter, simulator, war game, and it moves at about, as you can see, 10 frames a second. I just crashed into the mountain apparently. I have not played this game in forever. This was not really one of my favorite games back in this era, but since you asked about Top Gun, no Top Gun, but a Steel Talons game. Yeah, there you go. There are your enemy targets you have to hit. There's your map, all that kind of good stuff. Yeah, it's a terrible handheld, flight game. All right, let's go pick one that has aged a little better than that one. It is Gauntlet, the Third Encounter. Now, this one was really, really cool for a very specific reason. So, with the Lynx, ignore if you already covered this, but what systems were the Atari Lynx competing with at this time? Hey, good personality. Thanks for popping in. The only handheld game system that was out at that time was the Game Boy. And the Game Boy had released only 2 months prior to the release of the Atari Lynx. The Atari Lynx. The Game Gear made its way into the market about a year and a half after the Lynx made its way into the market. And then, of course, we were moving into really full tilt, right, in the 16-bit era of game consoles. And unfortunately, between the onslaught of the Game Boy and their incredibly deep, catalog of content, and the Game Gear now being another color handheld game system out there, but that also had Sega properties. So instead of Ninja Gaiden, you have Shinobi, right? So they were really able to like lean in and capitalize on their arcade heritage. Unfortunately, the Lynx just didn't stand a chance after that point, right? And Atari had undergone change in management. They had undergone a change in focus. They decided to get out of the handheld space altogether, focus on building the Atari Jaguar, and then the rest is history there, right? But here, yes, so this was the cool thing about this version of the game, is that you held the Lynx vertically instead of horizontally. And that way you had this, this tall kind of, aspect ratio, which is why I've flipped it this way so you can see it. But here's the really, really cool thing about this. It was multiplayer up to 4 players. They included all kinds of other characters. Android, a punk rocker, there's a pirate, gunfighter, Valkyrie, nerd is great. Samurai, I love the fact that the nerd's power is that it's faster than everybody, presumably because he runs away from everything, I guess. The samurai, wizard, and there we are back to the android. But as I mentioned in the opening, one of the things that the Lynx could do really well was scaling sprites. So you're going to see how they use this with a limited screen size to go and inform you when enemies were coming your way. So let's see, who should we be? Let's be the punk rocker, I guess. Okay, so you can see down in the bottom left, there's a picture of a skeleton key. That is basically a 3D or scaling sprite perspective. So that way you can see like this, as I'm walking down towards where the key is off screen, you could see it and it would get larger as you got closer to it. So it's showing you objects that you need to go and get off screen by taking the sprite and scaling it in the lower corner to let you know how close you are to it. It was a super neat trick, right? And again, there was no other system that could do this at that time. What is also super interesting about this version of Gauntlet, if you look at the other, big system that was out at the time, which was the NES version of Gauntlet, and we talked about this in a previous episode of Rewind, none of these sprites that you were fighting were actually on the same kind of plane as you are in the game on the NES version. What they did was, what Tengen did was they basically put all the sprites on the background layer and would just update the background basically each frame. And so you could put a ton of enemies on screen, but they moved really they were really jerky the way they moved. With no limitations like that for the Lynx, they could go ahead and just slam a bunch of these enemies on a screen, as many as they wanted, and they all moved smoothly the entire time. So it really was just a machine that was so much more powerful than the other machines that were out there at the time. It's got really good music. It's got, a full soundtrack to it as you're playing, which a lot of games, well, certainly handheld ones, were just starting to incorporate all of those different elements into their product, right? Into their games. Punk Rocker's doing okay, I guess, here. Yeah, but you got to clear everything off the screen to be able to get out. Yeah, but I love that it's almost, I get why they did the scaling, and it does help you a little bit. So you can, let's see, what is it? You can see the star gem, but death more likely awaits you. Right? So again, they're throwing all these little bits in there to show you the power of the Lynx, right? You can do that sprite scaling. You can put a ton of things on screen. You get more colors on screen than you could on the consoles that were out there at the time. Just really a lovely little machine. And again, a catalog that's definitely worth going back and exploring. All right, yeah, let's see. There's that key. We got some ghosts in there. The other thing too that they could do, which you could do in the arcade, but they kind of I don't know, they took advantage of that. Here is, enemies can pass through corners of adjoining walls. You could shoot through them in the arcade, but you couldn't pass through them. But I guess the way this was programmed, they certainly could, right? So when you think that you're safe because they're behind a wall, they'd hit a junction and then all of a sudden basically slide over into where you were, and that would be it. Yeah, but that's Gauntlet. That is Gauntlet. Again, a really neat version of this game. Oh my goodness. Look at that. We have hey, we have some chatbots that somebody that wants to sell us chatbots. I think we should say no to that. All right, so that was Gauntlet on the Lynx. Do I have Zybots or Xenophobe? Xenophobe? Yes, I do. And actually, that was one of the ones I was going to get into right now. And I think what we're going to do is get into, or yeah. Would you pronounce it XYbots or Zybots? I always pronounced it Zybots. Yeah, Zybots. That's what I thought. Yeah, let's go jump into a little bit of Zybots. Great minds and all. Yes, I agree. I agree. Alrighty, let's see. Now, again, you know, this is not Doom. This is a competent actually over-the-shoulder perspective game, and a lot of fun to go ahead and play through. It's basically a maze-crawling game. Really, I'm going to shut off the other music because this one has a really good soundtrack to it. And I believe I can rotate the... Yeah. So what you do is you basically rotate your point of view by holding down one button and then pressing left or right. And that way you can go ahead and basically spin around 4 different directions you would have to face to make your way through this maze. But that also means that you can then strafe. So you'll see that I'm looking straight ahead. I don't see an enemy, but if I turn, I can see them waiting down that corridor. So I know that I can move, slide on over, and just basically come in and get them. And we'll grab that one there. Oh, there we go. And then after you finish each level, you get to go ahead and upgrade your character with different weapons and power-ups and all that kind of stuff. Just a really fun game. Good jazzy soundtrack as well. And let's see. It's going to slide all the way up here. And we're going to turn. Nothing yet. Yeah, where's everybody? We got an empty-ass dungeon here, man. Okay, let's... Oh. Okay, that is obviously a dead end. So we're going to make our way around. The next game we're going to try is Electro Cop. That one was another game that played with perspective to create kind of the sense of a bigger world than you could have on the screen there. I think there's the pad there. Yeah. A little earwig of a song. So there he is. Check him out. He's all cool. He kind of reminds me a little bit of Roger Wilco, you know? All right, so there we go. We can go ahead and select a monster mapper. Let's go and do that. Let's grab, let's see, a monster mapper. Let's grab the wall mapper. And I think that's all we really need for this one. And he'll go back on the elevator and he'll make his way back up. And as we enter level 2, you'll be able to see, let's see. And notice the soundtrack has now changed. Oh. Let's see. And I believe what I can do here is... Oh, no. I pressed the wrong button. What I can do here is... can I look at the map? Nope, that's the rotation there. I forget how to go ahead and look at the map. That's okay, we don't need to. Right, so now different walls, different soundtrack for the different level that we're on. Sense of dread and foreboding. Let's see. So yeah, a really, again, like I keep saying, I know I sound like a broken record, but it really did have a great little catalog of content that were different than the type of games that we saw on the Game Boy or even the Game Gear, for that matter. You know, a lot of them felt very European, if you know what I mean. Like a lot of games in that era, you know, that were being done in Europe had a very different feel than games that were done in Western audience, you know, in Western countries or by Western studios. And let's see, I think this is, yep, first one. There you go. And that is Zybot. Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and look up Electro Cop. That one was a good one. Good one. Well, all of these are good. All right, and so actually this did play with seemingly transparent, transparent walls. And you'll see what I mean here. So you have to make your way through this entire space here. Epics Presents. Look at that little Blade Runner-esque sort of environment there. It's got all of these graphics scaling and everything else, right? The power of the Lynx. That's right. Or oh, I love that little voice changer. We're gonna have a lot of fun with that later. All right. Oh, Washington, D.C., June 2069. We're gonna go get past all that. We're gonna transport to level 1. And so you can see that, all right, so as you're moving around the environment here, I'm walking past that droid because he's actually on the plane behind me. And you can also see that I passed this other droid that just looks like a silhouette. He is basically closer to me as the player. So what you can do is you can turn into the screen or out of the screen, basically fire on those droids. So you'll see I'm gonna fire at the droid as he comes back by again. So you're in a 3D space, but you're only ever working on a single plane. And so you have to basically get the different weapons and make your way out of the maze, or out of the level here, I should say. And that's the weapon that I've got. Again, good jazzy soundtrack. And this is really a cross between kind of like an action, maze, and puzzle type of game. You have to go in and crack codes to be able to unlock different parts of the level. There you have multiple hallways that you're moving in and out of. All right, let's go grab this guy. What is this one here? Oh, there's, see? Oh, it's really cool right there. So, all right, so now you'll see, oh man. Oh, I am going to die here. No, I'm getting stuck. Oh, that's it. Yep, I'm out of there. But that was a mysterious blue powder found in an old Megacorp research facility. That must be you. Yeah, so that is Electro Cop. All right, I think we have time for just a couple more here. So let's go ahead and jump in, maybe put a little bit of music on in the background, a little bit of music to game by. Because we still have a couple left to show, and of course, one that has kind of held up as the best game on the Lynx, right? We haven't even gone over that one yet, but we're going to go and get to it in just a moment. All right, you can't talk about the Lynx without talking about California Games. California Games was, a mini game compilation of 4 California, I guess, themed games. There we go. Little Louie rendition right there. And we have BMX, surfing, half pipe, and footbag, also known as hacky sack, right? So we'll go start with that one. These are really difficult to play too. So, okay, here we go. And you have to basic up. There, I caught it. Up. Let's see. how do I turn around? Oh, there we go. Turn around by pressing towards the screen. And you basically just have to juggle these. I keep pulling forward to try to go ahead and get the hacky sack or the foot bag. And then you can press the control in different directions to make your feet and your knees do different things. There we go. And you have to watch out for the bird. Oh, no. All right, that's a pretty good run. Oh, there you go. So that was the foot bag or the hacky sack game in this. All right, let's see. Yeah, and I guess you get more points if you can go ahead and do those tricks from behind. Let's see. 1, 2. Nope. 1, 2. It's only the one button. Yeah, no. That's the other thing, too. You did need to read the instruction manuals back in the day, right? And I have not read them. So let's see. Oh, of course, hit the bird again. Oh, that was worth how many points? 97, 100, 104, 114. Right there on. Yeah. Just keep, juggling him. Oh, again. Woo. All right, yeah. That's a tough game to play. Oh, terrible. Time is up. All right, so it's going to get us out of there. And let's go over to BMX. Somebody said you need to go play BMX because it'll completely tax you. So let me see. Yeah, okay, so that's the... Okay. There we go. That's the standing backflip that basically destroys you the entire time. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, terrible. Ouch. Ouch. Oof. Oh, look at that. Yeah, I guess I... Oh. Look at that. Look. Oh. Yeah, that's right. Okay, come on, go, go. Yeah, that's right. Oh. Little wheelie right there. Come on. And then you basically are moving in and out of the track, but as you can see, it's a little bit, it's pretty difficult to move and to gauge, how far away you are from the, why would it speed up like that all of a sudden? I wasn't even going downhill. Oh my goodness. All right, here we go. No. Oh, flipping is ridiculous. There we go. Oh, look at that. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Oh.
Your life force is running out.
Yeah, my life force is running out. There we go. Let's see. One more flip. Come on, do it. Nope, that's it. Time is up on California Games. And so basically you play through all the games, you get a score. Most lost. Yes, it does need a bloody spear. For sure. And so then you basically get, the high scores for all 4 of the California Games. There you go. Isn't that right, kids? That is exactly right. All right. Okay. Let us move on to... This is probably... The most impressive, and as I said, it's considered to be the best game on the Lynx, and that is a game called Warbirds. And I remember, when I first saw Warbirds and was really blown away by it. Could not believe I was playing this game. Stun Runner is on there too. Yeah, we can go do Stun Runner too. But this is World War I dogfighting game. And again, you see those big scaling sprites? They're just absolutely beautiful. And when we look at these sorts of pixel-based games or pixel-styled games today, and we love them, right? I mean, this was the state of the art. This was the pinnacle of graphics in this era, right? This was the Nintendo Switch of its era. All right, so here we go. Warbirds does look great, yep. Oh, look at that. We're gonna choose, none of the, we're gonna be completely, invincible here. We're gonna go after the Red Baron, and here we go. Look at that. Oh, you got those beautiful clouds down there that are actually sculpted a little bit. Listen to the sound of the cannons. Oh, yeah, and you could go ahead and look around you, right, to see everywhere, and see anywhere you were. Again, something we had just not seen before. And then you, oops, let's see. You go ahead and accelerate by, oh, there, cut the engine so I can go ahead and pick up some speed. And then you hear the engine kick back in. And so now what you want to do is look around to find where your red Baron enemy is. Oh, he's behind me. So let's go ahead and get him. You could have, I believe your guns could overheat as well when you're playing. You have limited ammunition when you're playing in certain ones. You have different runs that you can take. You can fight more than one plane in some of the runs. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Let's see. All right, let's go get him. And you notice I decided to shut off collision so I wouldn't have to worry about trying to start this back. But there he is. There he is. Oh. And again, that's right rotation. There we go. Shut off the engines to go and make a fast turn. Woo. This one is tough on the thumb. Tough on the thumb indeed. Oh, come on. We gotta get it. Gotta get it. Here we go. Oh, my goodness. Certainly not like flying a real plane, you know? That's for sure, for sure, for sure. All right, let's see. Let's take one more run at him, and then we'll go ahead and play one more, last one, and then we're going to go ahead and get out of here and enjoy our weekend. Oh. Okay, I lied. I'm going to do one more run here. All right. Move fast by shutting off my... Yeah, when you cut the engine, it allows you to go ahead and pivot really fast. Come on, come on, come on. Let's see. Nope, that's it. All right, we're going to go ahead and get one more because we're already at the top of the hour here. So that was, again, the mighty, mighty Warbirds. Yeah, that's right. Oh. Let's go pick up that controller here. And we're going to go ahead and jump into one more game. Somebody mentioned Stun Runner. That was super skirple. Thank you for that. So yeah, let's go ahead and check out your request for Stun Runner. All right, here we go. Here we go. All right. Yeah, novice cakewalk. Let's go ahead and do that. Listen to that. It had audio samples on a handheld machine in that era. That's just crazy. Red stars show the fastest path. Drive over the stars for bonus points. All right, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Whoops. Wow, that is fast. So the frame rate on it's really good, but also it makes it a little tricky to... There we go. Come on. There we go.
You have completed level 1.
Wow, listen to that. That was pretty clear audio sample too, right? You had completed level 1. That's amazing for that era. Here's the thing. We talk about digitized voices and things like that, right? The very first arcade game to use digitized voices was Berserk. If you know what this game is, if you're, an old games guy like me, you'd know what it is. Oh, listen to that, a little Yahoo in there as well. Outside walls, faster in turns. Okay, that's good to know. Anyway, it was the first game to use digitized voices in gameplay. And at the time, I believe that it cost about $1,000 per word to go ahead and have those digitized. So a game that had 10 words in it, $10,000 to go ahead and play there, right? So we move forward from the 80s, right, into the 90s. Now we've got these handheld machines that are doing voice. incredible. Just really, really incredible. Yeah, Sewer Shark vibes, except Sewer Shark, of course, was a full motion video game, right? So you were just on that kind of predetermined path. You really didn't have a lot to, you really couldn't move through it. This reminds me of Nitrous Oxide on the PlayStation. So it's kind of like a Nitrous Oxide Tempest type of game, but again, super cool, right? It's pseudo 3D, and actually it couldn't do true 3D polygonal games, but what it could do was that it could texture map polygons or triangles that it could go ahead and then warp, so it could simulate the look of a 3D game just by warping those triangles, texture mapping them, and again, really advanced hardware, really, really cool system for its time, and that's just a taste of the library that is the Atari Lynx. So there you go. So if you have any interest in the history of video games and those sorts of systems, make sure you go ahead and find a version of the Atari Lynx. There are a bunch of different ways to go ahead and play some of these games. Go out to eBay, find yourself an Atari Lynx, go and start collecting some of them, right? Slapping that cartridge into that machine, holding your hands, and experiencing the compact fluorescent background or backlight of the Lynx, right, is something really to behold. The good thing is that they have all sorts of conversion kits now that modernize the handheld so you get a nice crisp screen to go ahead and play on, and don't hurt your eyes and don't burn those batteries out. So that is going to wrap it up for this episode of Rewind. And if you are a video game developer of any size, from AAA to indies, make sure you head on over to aws.amazon.com/GameTech to discover the products, solutions, and services that we offer to help you on your cloud game development journey. And I want to give a special shout out and thank you to Waterflame for allowing me to use his music here on Rewind. Make sure you head on over to his YouTube channel at Waterflame Music to check out his incredible work. And if you care about preserving the history of video games as much as I do, make sure you head on over to the Video Game History Foundation's website at gamehistory.org. They're doing some incredible work to preserve the history of our industry for future generations. And I want to thank you for spending your Friday afternoon with me. Have a wonderful rest of your day, have an awesome weekend, and we'll see you next week on Rewind.